If they can hear you, that's the question.
Feel free to go whenever.
Oh, yeah, sure. Um, can we? Whatever. I'll just start it from. Usually there's a 6 second delay before the time starts, but just start it on.
Just say go, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'll just start it and we can like take 6 seconds off the final time. Three, two, one, go.
That works, I guess.
Yeah, it should be fine. All right, jumping straight into CTR, Crash Team Racing. Um,
Yeah, go.
yeah, finally live. Welcome to the NLG organization 13, right? Yeah, mini. This time with main focus on Mario Kart 64, but we're kicking off hard with some other racing right now, which is Crash Team Racing. Now we're just gonna jump straight into it. Basically, this is the story mode or whatever you want to call it. I think it's called adventure mode, and it's the any% category for this game. Basically, the goal of the any% category is just beat the final boss as fast as possible from new file. So what I will be doing is going through the game systematically, collecting all the things necessary to unlock the next levels, and eventually beat the final boss, Nitrous Oxide. Just to straight up start out with the actual game explanation of what the hell is going on. The driving that is mainly used in this game, I think it's called power slides. How it's utilized is basically by jumping and holding to a direction and keeping your jump button in, it will start a slide. And as you can see on the bottom right of the turbo speedometer, you'll see a red bar going up, a green to red bar. When it's in the red area, it will give a speed boost when you press the other jump button, since the PlayStation controller has both an L and R button that can be used for jump in this game. So you basically do these slides and want to activate it as late as possible on the red bar. The more it will like maintain your speed later on, and I'll get into that later in the run. And this was Crash Cup, the first level of the game, pretty straightforward, very explanatory. Just drive the level. There was a little shortcut, but that was about it. So you'll be seeing a lot of weird text whenever these cutscenes appear, and the game actually automatically skips them. It's what is known as the language glitch, and I'll get more into that later because it's not really relevant yet, but you'll definitely see some interesting stuff later in the game. Next level coming up, Roost Tubes. This is the boss level of this area, World Warp, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually not sure what they call it in this game. And I'll be utilizing a little bit of a glitch in this level, at least an unintended thing. I don't really want to call it a glitch, but basically you can maintain the downward slope speed by not doing another slide turbo or getting any other sorts of turbos. So by jumping, you basically maintain your speed longer, because the longer you're on the ground in this game, the more it will drain your speed when you're not doing mini turbos or getting speed constantly. So I'll be jumping a lot here, as you can tell. And it's just frantic jumping, you just spam L and R. Which, by the way, Karel, is the reason I preferred this controller. Yeah, like this all the time. So, by this being a boss level, means that I will be going back and visiting it again later, just because every world has four different levels. You'll be doing in any % at least. Main driving levels against bots, and once you finish the 4 levels, once you collect all the trophies you get from the races by placing first, the boss will challenge you to a match, and you can get the key if you win against him. So for this first world, that will be the level we'll be seeing me play twice. So yeah, some of the levels will be repeated. Do you want?
Thank you for hosting us, DKF Buddy.
Do you want to do like an introduction of the entire event or something?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, I'll be talking as well.
All right.
But I want to ask, what is like a realistic estimate for this category?
A realistic estimate for me would probably, my final time I would estimate to be probably a 55 or lower. But things can go wrong. It could be a 56, 57 in theory.
And what's your PB?
My PB is a 53:14. Sixth place on the leaderboards currently. Yeah, it's a pretty good time. I wouldn't call myself one of the best drivers at all. Just like Mario Kart and I guess also DKR. There's a time trial community for this game, so there's a lot of really talented players who've actually never really done a speed run, who could probably easily beat out my time.
It's the same with Super Mario Kart actually.
Yeah.
It's like a ton of crazy time trial players and then only a few people try it.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that this run will not be interesting at all, though. My driving could be better. I definitely agree on that. But the world record for this category is actually a 51:33, I believe. So I'm decently close, 1.5 minutes away, and I have some mistakes in my PB as well. So.
I assume that is by a good time trial player.
Yeah, he's one of the higher ranked. I think it's top 30 or top 40 or so. So definitely a very good player. It's actually funny. The world record was held by a person named Paul for a while.
Apparently people cannot hear me, so you're having
Oh.
a conversation.
Karel was asking me a bunch of questions, so we'll figure out the sound for that. Meanwhile, I'll explain this level. There's a bunch of stuff going on, but it's all just cycle-based things. The tortoise, I think actually they're turtles. The turtles and the fireballs and everything is on a cycle, and it starts the cycle from when you load up the level. There's only one global cycle in this entire game, which will be coming way later. Besides that, there's this small intended shortcut, and over by this hill over here I do a speed ghost, which was the shortcut I was talking about on the last level, basically utilizing the downhill slope. Had a really bad angle. Also, something interesting to talk about is I collect 10 Wumpa Fruits in this level. As you can see, it upgrades my item. It makes that item right there actually become better, and every item I pick up in general. However, that's not the reason I do it, because there's only one item in a speedrun that increases your... Well, it doesn't increase your speed. There's a turbo item, but it just maintains your speed as if you did a turbo yourself. So it's actually not very useful at all. So the reason you collect 10 Wumpa Fruits is purely because it increases your max speed. And I believe maybe acceleration, but it definitely increases your max speed by a few percent. It's not very much, but it's enough that certain levels it's worth to route in, because they're basically on the way. Well, a few levels. It's most of the levels, to be honest. But yeah, it's not a necessity to grab the 10 Wumpa Fruits, but it definitely helps a bit.
Okay, I'm speaking now. Can you hear me?
It looks like there's audio.
Okay, so apparently the audio is fixed by our tech extraordinaire. So now that you can hear me, hello. And in response to the question asked earlier, which DKR pretty much already answered, yes, we will archive all the broadcasts
Yes.
slots,
What is the YouTube channel?
which is actually I think it's just MLG_organization.
Alright. Oh, right.
We're making full recordings of everything.
So, as you might be able to tell, I'm going at insane speed right now. That was actually one of the best I've ever done of that speed ghost. In this level, there's not that much going on. There's some double jumps, actually, which is pretty interesting to me. Okay, I made it up there. By double jumping in this game up hills, you'll basically not touch the ground that much, so you'll basically not lose that much speed from going uphill. So double jumping in certain spots are useful. But this wall right here, coming up right there, is glitchy. It will give a bunch of speed because it thinks you're on a really like downslope when you do a slide off of it. So by doing the regular speed ghost, maintaining by simply jumping after doing a slide off of it, you'll maintain a speed faster than you would be able to drive with just regular driving like this, which is very helpful. Of course, it saves all around, I guess, like 2 seconds on this level, maybe a little bit more if you do it correctly. And that's actually a lot of time, just for a little thing. Oh, yeah, the walls can be a little bit glitchy in this. You can drive on the walls, as seen. And I did collect 10 Wumpa Fruits in this level. Like, look at my speed compared to the bots. It might not look like I'm going fast, but I'm definitely pulling up to them pretty quickly. Yeah, what Maul said. There's basically no RNG. Basically. Which means that, oh yeah, language glitch. This guy would usually be talking a lot. Now he's just babbling random nothing, and there
I
will
was talking, but
yeah that would be like random what is it called, like nonsense speak, like just randomness, and then there would be subtitles for him. They figure that would be funny, but I'm utilizing a language glitch, and I'll still wait until later to explain it, and later I'll actually like ask people to be here for it, because I think everyone in here that has never seen a speedrun of this game will definitely enjoy it. Um, as I was just saying, there is a little bit of RNG in this game. In Tiger Temple, I was about to say Tiny Arena. Tiger Temple, there's a wall you can shoot down with throwable items, and it saves a few seconds driving that route. Plus, there's Wumpa fruit boxes all over it. But it requires an item that you can throw in, and there's only 2 item boxes on the entire course you pick up in the route, and on the first lap there's only 1. So optimal RNG would be 3 out of 3, but generally it's like a 2 out of 3 item you get on that level. But it's not too rough, it's a few seconds.
how many items are there?
That's a very good question. I don't really...
Useful items.
Um,
Throwable.
there's 3 useful items, I would say. Besides the... every throwable item is useful on Tiger Temple, but besides that there's the turbo, which even though it doesn't really do anything for you, it's still nice to have in case you make a mistake. And certain spots where you might have done wrong slides. And then there's the shield. The shield I have not gotten yet is pretty rare. I think it's like a 5% chance in first place. What's the time at right now? 9...
9 minutes.
Wait, that can't be right. That is not right.
I think Jasper may have paused it a little bit.
Yeah, because this should be around 11 minutes right now.
Okay, well, I don't think he lost.
It's fine. We'll figure it out later on. That should be about an 11 time. I did no mistakes that really cost me a lot of time. I think that's about an 11 minutes. So the timer should be around 1.5 minutes behind, I
I
think.
think Jasper pressed Control Plus because he was zooming in on the webcam and then he...
Oh yeah, maybe. Anyways, that was the first boss, Ribaru. What were we talking about right before? Oh yeah, items. There's another useful item besides the shield, which is the bomb, which I wouldn't consider the most useful one. The only use you really get from the bomb is shooting Wumpa fruit crates, so you can pick up the Wumpa fruit crates without actually driving into them. But it's pretty not risky, it's pretty hard to hit them. The aim is really weird for the bombs. They're mainly good for hitting other players. Actually, one thing that's really good about this game is the items are actually pretty good at hitting other people. It's not just easy to avoid everything, it's actually kind of in the way. Which is also why you'll never really see me place any items, because it's just not worth going for new items in this game. Unless you, of course, are on this level. Ah, damn. I got bad bounce there. Basically, that grass has some slight hill to it, so if you do a double jump, you can bounce off of it and get a turbo. And that's good RNG, by the way. So, good start to this level. It's always nicer on the first lap, because there are the Wumpa fruit boxes over here. It's good RNG again. So far, pretty good Tiger Temple. I got burned. Damn.
Something like rain physics in this level, or
There's what?
rain physics, because I see it raining outside.
Oh, rain physics. No, it's just it's literally just for
For show.
yeah, for art, kind of artsy kind of, just to give it a different feeling to the level. There will be some snowing levels and stuff later, but it doesn't affect your speed or anything at all, if that's what you were wondering.
Or grip, or whatever.
Nah, no difference. Oh yeah, speaking of grip and speed, this character I'm using right now. So, let's see if I can do a good job at explaining this quickly. Basically, there are 2 of every set of character in this game. There's an evil one and there's a good one. So there's 4 different characters that then have a duplicate in terms of stats for themselves. So Engine and Coco in this game, for instance, have the same stats. Dingodile and Tiny has the same stats. Purah and... what is it called? Oh, I'm not even paying attention. I had an item that couldn't be thrown. Anyways, all of those characters will have an opposite. But the obvious choice would seem to pick Tiny and Dingodile, because they have the highest top speed in this game, and they have the decent acceleration. However, as it turns out through some testing of this game, it's actually worth it going for Coco Engine instead, purely because they have a higher turn, which means some of the later skips will actually be possible to do Otherwise, the other characters would be way faster for the first part of the game. So, driving around here, this level is actually open once you get to this area, but it's just not worth going to it because you get yeah, you get like teleported to the middle after doing a pokel. Pokel. What the hell? A trophy. Yeah. So this is there's the shield, by the way. Just to point out, since you're,
Shield makes you invulnerable.
it takes a hit from you for you basically. As you see, it just ran out. That's because I didn't have the 10 Wumpa fruits. Otherwise, it would be a blue shield that never ran out unless I got hit. It's just useful in case the computers can occasionally actually throw rockets, but it happens never. Like literally never. It shouldn't happen ever.
So basically, NPCs are not much of a problem.
No, they don't rubber band at all. As you can tell, they're really far behind. I think someone pointed out that in later on in a different category called 101%, where you grab everything, there are some repeat cups where you basically drive it as if it was a GP in Mario Kart. And there the bots will have some rubber banding, but it's still not noticeable once you drive this well. And I just wanted to point out, since you're a carter, look at the layout of this level. Would you agree this looks a little bit like Luigi Raceway?
Yes.
It's a pretty straightforward, simple level, but it does have some speed ghosts. As you might see me like drive downhill and then start jumping frantically. That's purely because of the speed ghost, by the way. If I ever jump like this, it's because I'm maintaining my speed.
There's even the stadium on the right of the finish line, so yes, it
Yeah.
does look like Luigi Racing.
Yeah, that's actually true. Never really thought about that. Incoming is probably the hardest level in the run for me, I'd say. Just because of a skip, you'll see. It's not like it loses too long, like missing it. It's a few seconds, like 7 seconds if you go for it and miss it, I think. But you do this level twice because it's the boss level in this world. So you'll have to do 6 laps of this perfect in order to get a good time. And you'll see, this is a pretty tricky skip. First of all, in order to get this, you really need speed, so you gotta do the slides around this pretty perfectly, and I just hit a wall, which could be bad. I think I'll save it though. And jumping across this grass field is slightly faster than driving around. Now coming up, this is an intended shortcut. You drive out on the pillar. This is the unintended part, where you jump onto this part right here and skip around the finish line.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I was really close to failing that. As you can see, I was throttling all over. But that's because the wall you land on there,
Thank you, Meridian Prime.
the wall you land on for the skip, I couldn't really go for that, automatically makes you bounce because you're not supposed to be on the wall. So they made that, but it's still possible to drive on it. Okay, I made it over there. This is really hard level, not just because of this part, but also because of the fact that you combine it with the intended shortcut.
So what happens if you fail it? You lose like a bunch
Um,
and you just get back on
There's 2 different what are the scenarios? Yeah, either you fail it by landing back on the track, and there's an intended shortcut later on that saves a little bit more time compared to driving the level the regular way. That's kind of the fail way I just talked about. So you can do this right here, where you jump around this pod and save a little bit of driving. So as you can tell, the lap is only, yeah, an optimal lap would probably be about a 26. So I lost like 5-6 seconds on that lap from it. The other situation is I bonk on the wall, land in the out of bounds, and I'll get put back from before like even going for the jump, and it'll lose like 10 seconds, which is a lot. And here we'll get a cutscene that is obligatory in this category if you want to go fast. Basically, when you go in front of a boss garage that's not open yet, the cutscene from that will trigger. But once you've seen it once, it will never come again. That's the same thing with all these Uka cutscenes you see because of the language glitch. Once I'm done with this world, you won't see any cutscenes anymore after I'm done with levels. And yeah, usually you would be spamming triangle during the cutscene, but due to the language glitch, it actually automatically jumps out of it because there's no, like, audio for it. Which is nice. It doesn't save any time because you can usually just spam out of it, but it's nice because then you don't have to spam. Other than that, you just spam triangle when entering a race to skip the intro like cutscene, kind of showing off the track, and mash start after you finish the track to get past the trophy ceremony. So there's a lot of mashing going on in between. You might not really notice, but it's not too tough. It becomes more of a habit in the long run. Um, and yeah, small speed ghost going on down here. As you can see, it's a downslope, so I try to maintain it as well as possible. Something you might notice about this game, Karel, is it's really bouncy. Yeah, I like that about this game a lot. It makes it really funny to play, just because you have a feeling of having full control of your card at all times. Because it's really easy to turn and jump around and stuff like that. And there will be a skip, not a skip, a glitch later called the U-turn, which I will show off, which definitely shows how much you can have a control over your card in a short matter of time. It's not necessary yet because there's no heavy turning, but it will be necessary later for some of the skips. And that's this level. Let's see if I can get the swag ending. There's one where you like literally fall down out of bounds, and apparently it pushes the pixel forward, and it still finishes you even when you get like put back on track. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of a side effect of the language glitch right here. I think on the left side is what the boss is supposed to look like. On the right is what he actually looks like right now. This is the later boss's head put on this guy's body, and you don't do the language glitch just for fun. It skips a cutscene on the third boss, but it does give this hilarious side effect where all the bosses besides Ripperu's heads are switched around. So you'll see some interesting ideas for bosses later in the game, and how they can actually end up looking.
Do you have any idea how that works, that glitch?
Yeah. Well, we don't know 100% for. Oh, that was really good. RNG, I got to shoot him. That's actually okay. The missiles, I guess, can be good in this level just because he drops items. But yeah, there's a reason why it works like it does. The theory is, and it seems very likely, I'll have to go around here, is that it's an unfinished Japanese language put in the PAL version of the game, as if they wanted to release it on the PAL, the Japanese version as well. But they just never scratched it. So what you do is basically, it's apparently the default of the game, I guess. When you select that language at the start of the game, which is something you have to do, you just press the triangle button, and it doesn't select any language. And so everything in the game will be like this. It's the simplest glitch in the history of man. You literally just press triangle before the run even begins. And it doesn't affect anything besides the cutscenes. It does crash the game after you finish it because you can't play the final cutscene. It alters the faces of all of the. I don't know why. I presume it's got something to do with the fact they hadn't mapped in the correct bosses yet. Maybe they were just playing around with it for fun, and apparently the heads are different than the bodies in terms of, what count? Yeah, something like that. But what really makes it very likely that it's an unfinished Japanese language is if you do these things called the token races, which is after you finish a boss you can drive every level again and get relics and tokens, but you don't do that in any percent. I'll keep talking a second about that. No, you can see on the monitor to the right if it's back. Just rip. This is intended. This is unintended. That's rock right there is on a global cycle. Can't really do anything about it, but it's pretty easy to dodge. Just so you know a little bit about the game, I guess. Say when there's audio again, and we'll continue. Oh, really? Nice. Cool. Okay, so just to real quick, when I enter the level, I look backwards. That's because when you enter that area, you see a lot of the like entire area, so it lags a little bit. So looking behind you saves a few frames. This is an intended jump right here, as it might seem. This, however, is unintended. You can basically jump over that wall. An easy way to tell if something's intended in this game or not is when you do time trials of this game, there are two ghosts. First, when you finish a level, you'll face up with Entropy, and once you beat him, you'll face up with Oxide. And when you beat that ghost, all of the ghosts, I think you unlock a character or something. But anyways, an easy way to tell if something's intended or not in this game, in terms of like what's faster, if Oxide does it in the time trials, you know it's the fastest shortcut in the level. If he doesn't do it and it's faster, that means it's an unintended thing. So yeah, that's a really easy way to tell if something's intended or not for this game. This level has an interesting cycle. When you get down here, there will be a train track with some minecart driving around. I'll try not to hit those. Okay, that was actually a U-turn I used there, but it wasn't really visible, so I'll talk more about it later instead. Those guys are, well, those guys, I guess they're inhuman objects, but the minecarts are on a cycle from when you start the level, so they will be the same every time. So if I just drive well, I shouldn't have an issue at all with these.
Maybe make that jump. That's just the right.
Is that his nickname now? Yeah, that's definitely him.
The voice carries over.
Hey! Oh, damn, I hit the wall. I was distracted by legends in the room. BAJ has joined the building, everyone. Okay, so hopefully this cycle will be fine. I hit the wall, which might... Okay, it should be fine, I think. The way I do this cycle, my strat for doing it is basically never pussy out. That's how I usually say it. Because even if you get hit, you can still recover, and it will be just as fast as if you didn't go for it. So you might as well go for it. In the game, yo. Alright, so as you might be able to notice, there's no more cutscenes now. That's what I talked about. Once you've seen them all, the game won't throw any more at you. So it's pretty fortunate. Going into this level, Polar Pass, there will be an interesting shortcut, unintended shortcut. Otherwise, the level is pretty basic. Just dodge the seals on the cycles and drive as fast as possible. There really isn't any speed ghost or anything on this level, so besides the shortcut, this is a pretty straightforward level.
Say something about love the show,
And that's the shortcut right there. Yeah, he's in chat. Hey, I'm Flippio. Nice to meet you. Oh, damn. Flippio. Yeah. So now you see the blue version of the shield. This is basically infinite, but I don't need it, so I'm just throw it. Why not? Actually, it was maybe an idea to have kept it because of the seal cycles, but I should be fine. They're pretty easy to dodge, because I'm only staying on one side of the track, and they're going back and forth all the time. You can do a little bit of froggy jumping, as this is called, to just maintain your speed, but really it's just the same as if you were driving the regular way. But this is the fast way of doing this. By basically turning around mid-air, you can instantly hit the turbo, and that won't work. Damn. Okay, so I'll go for the backup version of this. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why picking engine and Coco is necessary. As you can tell, if you go for that version, it's way faster in terms of your speed, but it's just slower because you have to turn all the way around. I've actually been doing really consistent on that jump recently, even though I haven't really practiced it, but it's a really tricky one, even though it might not seem like it. In time trials, there's actually a different version of it where you just jump immediately. You just U-turn and you can jump onto it without going down the hill. but that's impossible in real time on this character. There's a different character for time trials. That's a glitch character. Well, not a glitch. It's a cheat one. You have to enter a cheat code, and it can't be used in story mode. Hence why we use Engine and Coco. Let's see if I can get it this time. I think this is good. No, I didn't get the jump. Basically, the jumps buffer a little bit in this game. So even though I don't press the frame I land, I should usually be able to get the jump, but it just messed up there for some reason. Still an interesting shortcut even if I failed it. I really like it. You just skip driving about a few, like 6-7 seconds of driving, which is what you lose from falling down, so you might as well just go for it. And incoming it's Wario Stadium. I mean Tiny Arena. Oh, damn. Right after this level. Basically the long dirt track in this game that everyone falls asleep to. There is a theoretical shortcut that's just not RTA friendly.
Mo was being super sarcastic, by the way. So Aaron probably hasn't fixed anything
Oh.
in his entire life. And that's all true.
Alright, so entering the final level before the boss fight. This is, every lap in this level is over a minute, so get ready for some quality driving time.
Hello down here, sir.
So you might notice why I call this the Wario Stadium of TTR.
No, exactly like Wario Stadium.
Except there's not Wario's face all over the wall, but I mean that's probably the only difference.
And the shortcut, I guess.
Well, there is a jump over a wall, but it's right at the end and it's impossible to do basically. There's no one who's ever done it 3 times in a row in time trials. But it only saves like 10 seconds doing it perfectly. Maybe a little bit less actually. So it's, yeah. It's a really weird one. You just like bounce up a wall and get around it. So not a lot to talk about in this track, so I guess I can really quickly just summarize the story of this game. I guess that would be interesting. So, as you might be able to tell, there's a bunch of bosses, and you're racing, and why are you racing? So, a cutscene we didn't see in this game yet, because it's in the opening of the game, is Oxide, the alien invader, comes to Earth, and wants to race the fastest racer, because he believes he's the fastest racer in the galaxy, so he wants to prove it. And in case someone can beat him, he will leave the planet alone. But if no one can beat him, he will turn the entire planet into road or asphalt or whatever. So they basically all built their own like carts in order to race Oxide to save the world. It's a really like cheesy story actually. But basically what you do is pick the trophies up to access the bosses. You've got to prove your worth. The bosses are the already like proven good drivers, and you get a key from beating each one of them. And I presume that the driver who has beaten all the other like bosses and gotten all the keys will be the one who's allowed to do the final race versus Oxide. So what you basically do is collect all the 4 keys from the main bosses in the game, and then you go to Oxide and you beat him, and he will be mad and go back to Gasmoxia. That's the entire story of this game. It's pretty funny, actually. But I mean, it's a Crash game, so they have kind of wonky characters with like an obscure story.
More believable than the story behind Diddy Kong Racing.
Yes, the evil pig comes. What is the entire story? Something about him.
Something about a very friendly paradise place with a cute animal and a space pig.
Cute animals, as in before Conquer turned bad.
Pretty much, yeah. So there's a space pig that causes all this trouble, and you can sort of beat him like each to the finish line.
Yeah, I've seen the game. I just don't really know specifically why he's doing the thing. I just know he's an evil pig on a rocket.
So
Alright, finally done with this level. Last level was actually pretty decent, a low 106. So now comes the cutscene skip. So usually you get a cutscene with Komodo Joe here, where he would talk about, you can't beat me, but this is what happens instead. You just drive. So, give it a good 15 seconds or so. But, that doesn't mean it's like the fastest version. NCSU is actually faster for this game, and that game doesn't have any language glitch. Basically, in the NCC versions, both the J and the U, all the driving is faster. No wait, it's the jumps that are slightly higher, which means you can maintain your speed better through froggy jumping. And it's estimated by the good drivers that once every minute passes on PAL, 59 seconds will have passed on NTSC in terms of in-game time when you drive. So it's believed that NCCU saves up to 20 seconds for this game all round because of that cutscene skip. It doesn't save as much as it might, but PAL is still very usable. World records on PAL, and every good player basically plays PAL. There's only one good player that plays on NTSC for speedrunning this, mainly because the speedrunning community for Crash generally is in the PAL region. Actually, there's a lot of PAL speedrunners of Crash. But yeah. So this level actually has an interesting glitch that can happen. If you jump over the finish line, it won't trigger the lap. So, come on, beat it, make that jump. I did it. So basically that minecart was right behind us, but thankfully I managed to dodge it. So if I jumped over the finish line here, it wouldn't trigger the lap and I would have to reset the course, but thankfully I didn't. Also, just a reminder, this pace isn't too good. About 1.5 minutes is lost in the timer right now, which is why it looks really good.
Just for the record, Jetstar, has anyone beaten you in arm wrestling this year? Or let alone the past 5 years?
I'd also like to point out the boss right now.
Alright, that is
His oversized head, alien face.
stuck on some wheels.
Yeah. you can see the hands. He has some hands. So you gotta watch out for that PC right there. That's the save, but if you drive too close, it will automatically trigger. So going for the final world now. Basically, I'll be driving the 4 levels now. Then I will beat the boss, and then go for the final boss. So actually, not that much time remaining of this run. About 15-20 minutes, I guess. 20 minutes is probably about correct. So every level in the 4th world has something interesting to it. Oh wait, are the microphones out?
Yeah, I can't help that. It's
Okay.
literally just OBS doing it. There's no other reason but OBS doing it. Like, here, I even had to force it to mono, otherwise it only shows up in mono. For some reason OBS just can't run.
So do we have sound right now? Okay, they can hear me. Okay. So basically, this level has some interesting things. Because the 4th world has what is known as USF pads in all of their main levels, and I'm gonna revisit that one. Oh damn, I fell. That is something that should never happen when you have so much speed, but whatever. It's not too bad. It's about 5 seconds probably lost. But basically the USF pads are boost pads that are placed one in every 4th world level that increase your speed significantly. Right now? Anyways, so as you can see right now, I get insane speed, and simply by not doing any slide turbos or anything, I'll maintain the speed. The biggest problem is there's this tunnel right there, as you can see, that's full of boosts constantly, so you might as well just jump into a slide there when it's about to end, because it will end anyways. What's interesting about it is it's actually better to slide through the tunnel, just because the more turbos you have in a row, as you can see I hit it again there, the longer you'll maintain your USF like this. That's just the way the game really works. There's an invisible boost counter you can't turn on because of the language glitch, but it's really helpful. It basically means everything for this game. I'd say this game isn't so much about driving fast, it's more about maintaining the fast you have. at least in terms of the later levels. A lot of the like speed ghosts and USF pads are necessary to abuse as much as possible. What's funny though is 2 of the levels that has USF pads I'll never visit the USF pad in because there are more optimal ways. Unintended, yes, but that's not scaring me. So, finishing up here. Should never fail that. I was just about to say that, and I failed again. Anyways, it's not too bad. It's only a few seconds, like 5 seconds, as you could tell. The reason the first lap looked like it was 7 is because you don't have the USF going into the first lap, so it just looks like it's different. Jump down here is the fastest way to get to Cortex Castle, which is the next level, the third final level in the entire run in terms of unique levels. Because once we beat our Pinstripe and Oxide, you'll be seeing, well, their respective courses, Oxide Station and Hot Air Skyway. We'll be seeing a repeat of the levels in that order again because of the boss fights. So it's pretty interesting. This level is pretty tricky, mainly because you have so many sharp corners going around. As you can tell, it's nearly just 90-degree turns all over the place, and there really isn't anything you can do besides just do good driving for this level. And coming up is the USF pad for this level. Basically, by jumping off to the side on an intended shortcut. Oh damn, I won't be able to utilize it. I'll do the pull 360 just for lulz. 360. Anyways, that USF right there, if you have enough speed going onto it and don't jump, even though there's a big gap, you'll maintain the speed from it even when you land and can continue into the next lap with the USF speed. So that saves a lot of time if you do it correctly. Hit the spider. Those guys are on nasty cycles, even though it's always... yeah, I already did it because I messed up.
Yeah, but on the spider as well.
360 on the spider, yeah, I guess so.
360 goes to the spider count.
But yeah, they're on the same cycle, but they're pretty tricky to tell, like, when they'll go down, because some of them will go down faster than others. I guess, even though people are chanting for Sweden and Holland, I would like to point out that I'm from Denmark, and I'm not proud of any of you right now, chanting for obsolete country. I'm actually doing a really bad job of this level, but even though I am, it's not too bad, just because the mistakes on this level aren't too costly. If you mess up, you just keep driving anyways. It's not like there's a big skip you need to hit on the upcoming 2 levels. I'll be going more into detail about those in just a second. So this, you might have noticed there's quite a few interesting things throughout this run, but the upcoming 2 levels are arguably the most broken levels. You skip such large portions with really incredible, like, glitches. Obsolete. Oh, damn, I didn't skip it. What am I doing? Hello? I'm not going to Oxide Station yet. That's a small, oh no, that's the old route. Nah. I accidentally went for the other level, just because I saw Pinstripe's face. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Anyways, that only lost a few seconds. It's fine, it's fine. So, here I will be doing the U-turn I talk so much about in, like, high-end profile. This is like U-turn right here, which isn't the big one, but we go there to load the track ahead of us, and now I'm gonna U-turn into a glitch that makes me stick to the wall, and as you can see I'm in first now. Basically, by sticking to the wall, it gives an infinite fall glitch, because it thinks you're still on the track even when you're falling for some reason. So by doing that, I can land on the track just below that wall, and by driving to the point where I first U-turned, as you obviously saw, it will have loaded the track just enough below me so that I won't like get reset when I land down there up again. So very useful shortcut skip. And the other one I didn't even get to talk about, but it's kind of the same idea. I'll talk about it in a second. But basically, you turn right here, as you can see, I turn extremely fast around. And here I just do a slight U-turn just to stick to the wall, and then I U-turn again to land down here. The other one over here is pretty simplified version of that. There's no infinite fall glitch, there's just the jumping over the wall. That's all there is to this. There's a lot of chat interaction going on behind me, I guess.
Not just you.
Really solid lap so far of this, so this is going pretty well for Hot Air Skyway. But the biggest choke of the run, probably, well, not the biggest choke necessarily, but just because it's so late in the run, is coming up very shortly. Because the next level, Oxide Station, has a very interesting two-part skip, which consists of doing one skip that saves time, and then doing another skip that saves even more time. But doing them in succession can be quite difficult, especially because you need to do it 3 times, times 2 because you do the level twice. Oh, hit the wall. That wasn't a good U-turn. It's fine though, there's a... oh! I nearly got shot. Let's try and YOLO. Damn, I got the finish! That is so good. Like, even after you get reset, it like apparently pushes you a little bit forward. That is so good. That is really YOLO swag ending. So let's try and go down there again and see if there's an open level this time. Oh, there is! What are the odds? Luftan, you can do /mods to see who's mod. Anyways, final unique track in this run. After this I'll be doing a repeat of the one I just did on this one, and the run will be over. So here's the first part. You turn up there, drop down here, first place. But we drive back up. It's saying wrong way right now, but there's language glitch, so it's just an exclamation mark. Jump onto the wall again, and jump down over here, which is even further on the track, and I'm in first place. Also, skip right there. Usually a lap of this would probably be about 1 minute and 20 seconds or something, but by doing some slight optimization of the normal driving, we can push it down to, I think it's about a 42, that's 42, 41, that's about the optimal on second, third lap. This was a little bit sloppy at the middle and the end, but it skips a large portion. Basically the first part here is necessary to do before you can, okay, the backup, jump. Damn. Let's try again. Make the jump. Oh yeah, we have Swedish people. Please, just make this. I need to make this in order to do the second part, so it's definitely worth it. Hello? Ish. Jump. There we go. So you'd land down there, basically to just load the track ahead of you further, because the game doesn't deload the track, Yompa. Doesn't deload the track even though you drive back up, so you can utilize that to just drop down there. Usually the fastest way without that other part would just be to drop down and just continue. You can do that and save about 5 seconds, but by doing them in succession together, you can save about 10 seconds instead per lap. And considering you do this level twice, 3 laps, you save about a minute in total in the entire run if you do this level perfect, over not doing any of those skips. So that's a lot of time. So even though I just lost like 20 seconds, if I just get the skip consistently on the next like 4 attempts, that's looking good so far, I'll still save more time than I lost from failing that for a while. So yeah, really good jump so far. I basically used the U-turn to stay on that wall because you have a lot of speed and a lot of like angle coming out of it. So if you U-turn, you can just stay on the wall if you do it correctly. If you do it incorrectly, you'll land back on the track and have to do the jump again, which is very, very unfortunate and annoying, because doing the backup can be interesting, as you saw in the first lap. Oh, it's good RNG. Not really, but whatever. Mario's been sitting on another monitor. Alright, so the final two boss fights. Komodo Joe, Pinstripe, he has no neck right now. So that's pretty interesting.
The question is, do I add? Oh wait, we got another test.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna like add a small screen recording.
Oh yeah. That could have been funny though.
Yeah, the problem is if I connect the capture card, it's probably gonna break the capture. So
Mario's tired of this run, as you can tell. So this is just a repeat of the levels I just did, basically just with a boss fight, which for this level makes it a lot easier.
just pick that here.
Because this boss is not tricky at all. He throws bombs. Each boss in this game has their own weapon of choice. Ripperoo has TNT. Komodo Joe has Nitro. Papu has the potions, the green and the red potions. And Pinstripe has the bombs. The reason why it's not an issue on this level is because the bombs don't stay on the ground, so even like when you're this far ahead, it doesn't matter at all. The thing that makes Oxide really hard is he throws a combination of items, but mainly the problem is he throws a lot of the green potions, and they can be in spots where they will straight up block you from being able to do the skip, so you have to do the backup, otherwise you can't do it at all. Sometimes they're like on the third lap below after you do the skip, so you can land straight on them. It's gonna be really tricky. He's the biggest troll in the entire game. It's probably the hardest thing actually, just that boss fight, doing it perfectly. Because if you don't mess up at all and you do perfectly basically, he'll be right in front of you when you get to the final part of the level, so he will be throwing nitros all over the place. So even if you avoid all of his annoying items, he'll like throw more in there.
Don't say too expensive.
There's a lot of boxes, yeah.
It's fucking retarded, but it's not fine. That's the way.
Okay. If I can do this again, this is a 6 out of 6, which is pretty good. Yeah. I should never really fail that one. It's pretty straightforward once you know how to do it. Once you get the muscle memory down, you should get it pretty much every time. This might not work. I'm gonna go really wide just to be safe. Okay. He's ahead of me right now, and I gotta dodge that bomb. He actually throws them from on top of the track and below. It's really interesting how they chose to actually create some more difficulty from this boss by doing that. Okay, can I get the swag ending again? Yeah, nice. It's really funny. Alright, time for final fight of the game. Yeah, this is the boss I just beat. He has no neck, as you can obviously tell. Well, it's what are they called? Tom gun, I think. Like a yeah, Tommy gun. That's the word. But incoming is probably the most interesting of all the language-less bosses in the entire game. Oxide with Papu's head. So we have an alien tribe man with a floating head. I find that pretty funny. Like, I don't really laugh out loud anymore because I've played this game so much, but inside, trust me, I'm laughing really hard. So let's see if I get trolled or not. By the way, timer's in about 2.5 minutes, I guess. Is that VHA in the game? Alright, so first lap actually went. Oh, I got up there. I can't believe that. I was really lucky. Sometimes you cannot jump. Yeah. It's basically, well, you can pretty much tell it's after this like tunnel on the third lap, so I'll say when it's coming up.
So the timer is pretty fucked up.
Looks like Gachimuchi. I know what that is.
It's 1 minute.
Yeah, it's like 1.5 minutes off, so this is probably about a 56, which honestly isn't too bad considering I haven't actually practiced this at all. I have been off of this game for so long because I've been busy with a job and balancing Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64 on the side. We'll see what the final time will be though. I think adding 1.5 minutes is... Oh yeah, we gotta subtract 6 seconds though. Oh, barely stayed on. That is amazing. You can like jump even when the slope is really weird. There's still one more lap after this though. So, but be prepared, it's coming really soon. And I think we're gonna have some maintenance after this run, is that correct?
What I saw?
Do we have some maintenance after this run? Will the stream be down for a short while? Yeah.
Audio is fucked up.
So as you might have noticed, the audio has quite some issues. So right after this run, we'll put the stream down for just a little bit, trying to fix the audio. Oh my god, I managed to get past that. That is... okay, that was probably some of the worst RNG you could have. They were just all over the place, in every path you could probably choose. But I managed to dodge around it barely without hitting the wall. And that is really good RNG here. This is like perfect. Okay, time has come up in 20 seconds or so. It's right when I cross the finish line. Hey Christian Weil, yes I'm an LG, it's pretty damn amazing. This was a perfect Oxide. I never had this well of an Oxide fight before. So, after this turn coming up here. Are you ready? And... time. So, 53:38 plus 1.5 minute minus 6 seconds. It's about a low 56, right?
Sounds about right.
No, wait. 1 minute 54, half a minute 55. No, it's a low 55. It's like a low 55 this run. We had some trouble with the timer, but it's about a low 55 estimate. So that's pretty good run actually. Considering my PB's a low 53, that's pretty good considering the mistakes. So yeah, thank you all for watching this run. Woo.
By the way, add like 3 or 4 minutes to that, because
3 or 4?
when I was trying to zoom in, I actually...
Yeah, but it was, we looked at the timer and it was 9.5 minutes after the boss, and I usually have 11 minutes at that point. So it's more like 1.5.
Okay, fair enough.
We added that, so it's about a low 55. Okay, so I've been told that we're gonna do some maintenance on the stream, trying to fix the sound now, right, Jasper?
If that works, but yeah, I'm trying.
So we'll take the stream down for a short while, I guess. So
Hopefully, sure.
let's just crash the crash game real quick first.